we're going to talk about Harvey Barnes because he has also been a man who has had a lot of stick, a lot of questions about his price tag. He's missed more games this season in his first season at Newcastle than he did in his last 4 at Leicester City. And I always had faith that once he got over that injury that he got dealt at Sheffield United, he would come good. And obviously, it hasn't been an easy road to recovery. People around that Chelsea game a few weeks back again were starting to question the move, question the price tag. But he silenced his doubters with 2 great goals against West Ham, hasn't he?
Looked really, really good Saturday. And I think, a lot of those comments that were probably, aimed his way on social media was after that disastrous Blackburn appearance where he obviously missed that penalty, he missed the sitter. Looked like a different player Saturday. The run for the 3rd goal is absolutely fantastic. The finish for the 4th goal is even better. You just hope now that this is the springboard. I know I keep talking about it, but this is hopefully the game that he needed. He needs an uninterrupted run of matches between now and the end of the season. He looks absolutely fantastic, and I think for those people who are still clinging on to the notion that Alan St-Maximin shouldn't have been sold, Harvey Barnes has now scored a 3rd of Alan St-Maximin's Premier League goals in 12 appearances, and it took Maxi 4 seasons to get 12 goals, and Barnes is already on 4. So he looks fantastic, and this is what Newcastle signed him for. The goals and assists that he brings. He's not a player with flair who's going to do tricks and get fans off their seats, but he's a really, really consistent finisher. He's really, really lethal in the final third, and we saw that with 2 moments of real brilliance on Saturday.
He's got the end product that Alan St-Maximin very rarely had, and there's still some people saying, we should never have replaced St-Maximin with Harvey Barnes, but a big fan of Harvey Barnes. I mean, him above anybody else will know that he's not played enough games this season, and he'll be frustrated more than anyone else about it. He doesn't need questions raised about his ability or price tag. He'll be well aware that that's hanging over his head. But from what I'd seen from him in the brief moments we've seen of him this season, I've been impressed because he's so quick and he's so sharp. He's quick in body and in mind. It's 1-2, so they're done. And he's a real quality player, and I think he's going to prove to be worth every single penny of this £38 million plus that they paid for him. He's a solid Premier League player. You've mentioned his record there, and with a good run of games, no more injuries, he's going to be a key component to Newcastle United in the seasons to come.
Well, we'll just go back to what you said when you started bringing up Barnes. Before this season, he very rarely missed games. He was very consistent. His injury record was absolutely fantastic at Leicester. He has that really freak injury at the start of the season, which has obviously derailed his first year at Newcastle. Keep him fit, hopefully he can get through to the end of the season, have a good summer with the team. And it might be a case of what we saw with Gordon, where he just needs that time to bed in. He needs that run of games. He needs a summer working with Howe to get up to full speed. And hopefully, touch wood, we're going to be seeing a lot more of him. And I think, between now and mid-May, hopefully we're getting a good run of games in him.
Gary says Barnes is direct, none of that tippy-tappy rubbish with step overs. Why man says, do you not think Barnes is a better impact from the bench? And I get the point that he's making there, but the fact being Eddie Howe has very limited options. So even if Eddie Howe didn't want to start him on Tuesday against Everton, really, the injuries that he's dealing with, he kind of has nowhere else to turn, doesn't he?
Long term, though, this is the question of, what does he do with Barnes? What does he do with Gordon? Because in an ideal world, when you've got everyone back fit, I don't think anybody at the moment is picking Barnes over Gordon on that left-hand side. Do you move Gordon to the right and see maybe the long-term replacement for Miggy? Do you move Barnes out to the right? I mean, he's very rarely played there for Leicester anyway. There is a question to be asked much further down the road as to whether having these 2 fantastic wingers is actually a curse for one of them. But look, I mean, certainly for Everton, he starts. Certainly, hopefully for the next couple of games, we'll see a lot more minutes in him, and hopefully he stays fit.
Yeah, I think you probably play him on the left and switch Gordon over to the right when fit. We've mentioned there briefly the 2 goals, but The first goal he scored, to hold his run the way he does, absolutely fantastic. Lovely ball through the middle and a superb finish to put it through the legs of Fabianski. And then the second goal, and this is what I'm talking about. He's so quick and so sharp, opens his body up, bang, into the corner. Other players take a touch to maybe look for a pass, but he doesn't actually even look where the goal is. He just instinctively knows where he's putting that. It's a superb finish. Fantastic way to win the game. And just describe your emotions when that ball hit the back of the net.
Relief, joy. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? But you got that feeling, didn't you, when it was 3-2 and the penalty went in? At least I did. That you thought, okay, this might be on here. The crowd picked up, the atmosphere suddenly took a lift, and it was one of those where when Gordon holds the ball up, knocks it off to Barnes for the fourth goal, he beats a certain West Ham midfielder and then absolutely rallies it in. He sort of knew it was going to fly at the net. It was just one of those end of the games where you could see it coming. Delighted for him personally, delighted to see that he's coming back and not only getting minutes, but really improving and impressing so much better than when he came off the bench at Blackburn. So yeah, delighted for him after what's been a really, really tough year.